Hi everyone, I'm Ryanne Cunningham, owner of Flow Yoga Studio and author to Yoga for Athletes. Today's class is a Yoga for Athletes class, and we're going to be focusing on specifically for runners. So hamstrings, hips, and some mobility with flexibility poses. To get started, we will need 2 light blue blocks, and this will be a quick little sequence to help loosen you up and with a little bit of mobility. And we'll just get started in downward facing dog. And in your down dog, let's just wake up the legs and the back side of our body by pedaling our heels out. And as you do so, keep the head chest through those arms, hips up high. And just move the legs. Now, low lunge will be our first pose. So you're going to turn your gaze forward. Your right foot, you're going to step forward on the inside of your right hand, lower the back knee down. Reach forward, grab your light blue blocks. Have your chest tall. Sinking forward into the lunge, pinky toe of the back foot is down, hands to the block. So even allow those hips to sink a little bit lower. There's 3 levels to the blocks, or hands to the floor, whichever you prefer. And then we're going to take it back to the runner's lunge, which will be our hamstring stretch. Head, chest up, square your hips up, and keep your hips up above the back knee. Then return back to the low lunge, and then runner's lunge. And you can do this as many times as you'd like. Really nice to wake up the hips, the quads, and the hamstrings. And then we're going to take it back to our runner's lunge. And even here, you can hold on to the blocks if you would like. Have a slight flexion with this front foot. From the hip all the way down to the foot, you're going to do an internal rotation. Ball of the big toe touches the mat. External rotation, outer edge of the foot touches the outer edge of the mat. And just keep moving the leg on the internal and external rotation. So this just wakes up all of your hamstrings. And there's 3 hamstring muscles. Just keep moving. Keep breathing. And then toes will lift up. Your blocks are right nearby. And we're going to take what's called the half pigeon pose. So as you go to bend this front knee, the ball of your front foot will turn to the right, flex the toes up, and then you just roll to the outer edge of the foot. So maintain the flexion of the toes that protects your knee. Walk your hands forward. If your hips are tight, your blocks are right here. Grab your blocks. Press your forearms into the blocks, sink your hips down, and then lengthen your spine by turning your gaze forward. You're going to feel a nice hip stretch in that right hip. You're just going to take a few deep breaths here. Keep the hips in the low lunge hips, maybe slightly push them to the right. And then we walk it back up to the hands. Draw that right knee in next to the right shoulder. Curl the back toes under, step back, downward facing dog. And we'll do the same thing with the left side. Left foot steps forward, lower the back knee, grab your blocks, pick a level, and then just start that motion. Hips back, runner's lunge, hips forward, low lunge. And again, you can do this as many times as you would like. Just make sure to keep the chest tall, hips sinking down. Good, and we'll come to that runner's lunge and then find that flexion of the foot from the hip all the way down. Internal rotation, external rotation. Internal, external. So if your hips and your hamstrings are a little tight, add the movement, add the hips with the movement. So the hips are going to go in the opposite direction that the toes are pointing, and that'll help with the range of motion. And just waking up all of your hamstrings. Then your toes are going to lift up. You're going to take that slight external rotation of your right foot. Walk your hands forward, sink into the lunge, and just relax that knee to the left. So you don't want any knee discomfort at all, so adjust the foot that's comfortable for you. Grab your blocks, sink your hips, lengthen the spine, turn your gaze forward, and even push the hips a little bit to the left as well. And then we'll walk it back up to the hands. Gently pull that left knee in next to the left shoulder. And then we're going to step back, downward facing dog. And again, pedal the heels. Maybe even turn the heels out, big toes in. Parallel the feet. Let's just run through a quick little vinyasa to stretch out our back. High plank, lower down halfway, uncurl the toes for upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. And then let's relax down to hands and knees, at hands and knees. Just a few rounds of cat and cow, just to loosen up the back and the chest. And let's neutralize our spine. So a little bit of hip mobility, more hip mobility is going to be what's called hip cars. So we're just going to be moving the legs. So as we do so, you want to be able to feel strong in your upper body, arms, palms are pressing into the mat, round your upper back, pull the belly button in. Now the motion of the legs is I'm going to start with my left leg. You're going to push the left heel up to the ceiling. Try not to move the hips too much. Find that external rotation of that knee, and then slowly with control, maintain that range of motion as best as you can. Pull that knee up towards that upper arm, underneath your hip, and then again, right back up. So we're just going to do 3. And each time as you're moving, you're keeping your upper body strong, upper body stable, you're breathing, and trying to increase that range of motion without moving anything else but this leg. And right away, let's reverse that. Even your core is strong, arms are strong, upper back is lifting. And then once you finish 3 both directions, switch legs. Realign the body, find the stabilization, and start the motion. And again, try not to use the hips. You're just moving the whole leg, increasing your range of motion. Upper body is strong. Once you do 3 one direction, 3 the other direction. And once you're finished, very slowly relax down to child's pose. Any variation, knees together, knees wide, arms overhead, arms along the sides. Close your eyes, just take a few deep breaths. And if you would like to take a quick Shavasana, you're welcome to lay down on your back. Otherwise, that's our quick little sequence today for our runners for Yoga for Athletes. Namaste.